CJ Stroud, TreyVeyon Henderson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Mike Hall. Those are a few players that had their fingerprints all over the Buckeyes. 29-point blowout win over the Michigan State Spartans. The game was fun to watch, had a little bit of a weird feel to it. We'll discuss and recap what we witnessed over the weekend today on Locked on Buckeyes.
You are Locked on Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked on Buckeyes for the Locked on Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Monday, October 10th in the year 2022, and I want to thank you for making Locked on Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of every single day. On today's episode, we will discuss some impact players and impact plays that we witnessed over the weekend from the Buckeyes defense. We'll also discuss one thing that stood out to me from TreyVeyon Henderson's performance on Saturday afternoon. But before we get to any of that, before the season, I made it plain and clear that I believed that CJ Stroud was going to win the Heisman Trophy in 2022. We all know throughout any season, especially during your second year as a starter, when defensive coordinators get more tape on you, they will try to throw different things at you to try to slow you down so you're not a special player when you're playing them. There are some ups, there will be some downs, but through it all, through this point in the year, I do believe CJ Stroud is the Heisman Trophy frontrunner in 2022. And it all was something that we witnessed once again over the weekend. Like I said, in any season, people are going to have some hiccups. People are going to have possibly a rough game. But when they need it and when they're playing lesser opponents, those quarterbacks or running backs or receivers or defensive players, Charles Woodson, who win the award, they know how to rise to said occasion. That's exactly what Stroud did over the weekend. The numbers say one thing: 21 for 26, 81% completion percentage, 361 passing yards, six touchdowns, a passer rating of 265.9. You've heard me say it numerous times. I don't know what the cap is on a passer rating. There is not one in college. But one thing I do know is this: you got 265.9 in your passer rating, buddy, you had a phenomenal game. And we talked about it previously, how Stroud at times, and it was a game this year, only 4 guys caught passes. Hey, spread the rock out. Get more guys involved. It makes it easier for you and the other guys on the offense to move the ball down the field. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 7 catches. Egbuka had 5. Julian Fleming had a touchdown. Had a trip to pay dirt. Case Stover had 3 catches. Stocksdale, I believe he was in there when Kyle McCord was a quarterback, but he got in on the mix. Jaden Ballard, G. Scott Jr. caught his first touchdown of his Buckeye career, and TreyVeyon Henderson had a catch as well. Even if you take Stocksdale and Ballard out, there were numerous guys that got in on the mix while Stroud was in the game. And you have to love that stuff. You have to love a quarterback that can get multiple guys involved. But you also have to love a quarterback in Stroud who, when it is needed, 3rd and 8, when you see that the defense of Michigan State is bringing guys up. There are 2 guys right there in the A gap. The D tackle on the right side is shading the outside shade of Matt Jones, the right guard. And you're wondering, what are they going to do? And Stroud is pointing things out pre-snap, prior to the snap, to allow the O-line to anticipate and expect what the linebackers and D-linemen might do when there's an incoming blitz. There are 2 backers lined up in both A-gaps. The backer on the left side of Ohio State's offensive line, he ends up dropping back. The D-tackle is on the outside shade of Matt Jones, the right guard. He goes down. When he goes down, he brings Matt Jones in with him. Remember, this is 3rd and 8. If they don't convert on this, it's a punt. Ball's going to Michigan State. So Stroud sees this. The D tackle takes Matt Jones down, pushes him towards the center, which opens up a big looping lane for the linebacker that was in the A gap in between Luke Whippler and the right guard Matt Jones. That backer comes around. The next thing you know, he goes into the backfield, and Stroud sees him. But Stroud also knows there's one-on-one with Marvin Harrison Jr. on the bottom of your screen on the right side of the offense. Throws it up, drops it right in the bucket. Marvin Harrison Jr. beats his man one-on-one. First down, move the chains. There were numerous drives in this game as well that were over 80 yards. I mean, there was a 90-plus yard drive, a few 80-plus yards drives. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, a lot of quarterbacks in college are good. And I'm not going to sit here and say there were not a lot of talented quarterbacks in college football. But the more I witnessed of CJ Stroud, and in that 3rd and 8, that's just one thing. There were other moments in this game. There was a play, the crazy touchdown to Marvin Harrison Jr. that was on the front left of the end zone. What did Stroud do at that point? I believe it was second down. It was first or second down. The down and the yardage escapes me. But in that point in time, Stover is on the left side of the offensive line in the tight end slot. He gets beat by the defensive end of Michigan State. The defensive end literally pushes Stover, pushes him back and runs him over, and the defensive end finds himself right in the lap of Stroud. But Stroud in this moment realizes he has a connection with Harrison Jr. In this moment as well, what does he do? He throws the ball where only Marvin Harrison Jr. can catch the ball. He sees there is a blitz right in front of him. He does not allow the incoming defender to derail him from his task. Ball to Harrison Jr. Crazy catch. Goes down to his ankles. Touchdown. We remember early in the first quarter, there was a pick 6 from CJ Stroud. And Stroud, in this moment, it was miscommunication between the quarterback and receiver. Very next drive. Egbuka, Harrison Jr. on the right side. Harrison Jr. is out wide. Egbuka is inside of him. And there's 2 corners. Really like a half second before the snap, the corner over Egbuka looks at the outside corner, trying to make a switch and a change in coverage. The next thing we see, the corner over Egbuka, who's on the inside in the slot, the corner stops, looks over at the point of at the snap. Remember, these two, Egbuka and Stroud, had a miscommunication, which turned into a pick 6 on the previous drive. And so Egbuka sees that. Egbuka and Harrison Jr. see there's a mismatch. There's 2 guys on Jr., none on Egbuka. The safety is 20 yards back. Egbuka runs, quickly turns. Stroud sees what's happening. Next thing you know, Stroud throws the ball to Egbuka. Touchdown. Stroud is doing things this year, pre-snap to post-snap, that are amazing. Stroud is doing things with his receivers that are amazing. But his ability to not only have an amazing connection with his receivers, but to also decipher what the defense is throwing at him, seeing blitzes before they happen, seeing them in real time quickly, and getting the ball out. And when he gets touched, the defenders get there. They don't get there because Stroud does not go down to the ground. Stroud is getting the ball out quickly, deciphering what's going on, and getting it to his guy quickly. CJ Stroud, I said it before the season, he is going to win the Heisman Trophy. And through 6 games, to me, he is the Heisman Trophy frontrunner in 2022. This defense, if there was a Heisman Trophy award for the defense as a whole, they might win that award as well, because this defense in 2022 is special. And there were some impact plays that we witnessed over the weekend. We'll discuss those, positive and some negative, right here next on Locked on Buckeyes. The numbers don't lie. In the last decade, over 4 million people have chosen SimpliSafe Home Security to protect their home. You don't earn the trust of that many people without doing something right. At SimpliSafe, your safety is the only thing that matters. I know because I use SimpliSafe in my own home. They protect you with cutting-edge security technology powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who always have your back. Here's why I love it. SimpliSafe has 24/7 professional monitoring. SimpliSafe's agents call you the moment a threat is detected, and they dispatch police officer or first responder in an emergency, even if you're not home or can't be reached. SimpliSafe blankets your home in protection with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door. HD security cameras for inside and outside your home, smarter ways to detect motion that only alert you when a threat is real, and even hazard sensors that instantly detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. Our monitoring experts use proprietary advanced response technology to visually confirm when a break-in is real, so you can get the highest priority police dispatch. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/lockedoncollege. Save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an locked on. When you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan, get your first month free. Visit simplysafe.com/lockedoncollege to learn more. SimpliSafe is the place to go, and there's no safe like SimpliSafe. Locked on Buckeyes, along with all our other Cleveland podcasts, are now available on Roku and Amazon Fire TV as a part of Locked On Sports Cleveland. More great local sports coverage 24/7, and it's free. Download the Locked On Sports Cleveland app today on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. The defense. I went over it briefly over Saturday during our postcast, and if you missed that, I would highly suggest you go back and check out the first Locked on Buckeyes postcast of 2022. Just a quick little short episode, instantly reacting to what we witnessed in that game. There will be 3 quick thoughts that will be heard on that show, and that does not eliminate or erase our regularly scheduled Monday episode of Locked on Buckeyes. Now, during basketball season, we'll keep that going. I have more details about basketball because basketball games are during the week, so we'll still recap and discuss some of those things during the basketball season. However, football season's fun, and check out the first postcast. Got some good feedback to it. Actually, the views on YouTube are amazing. Oh yeah, it's live on YouTube as well, so you don't want to miss that. But during our live postcast after the Michigan State win, I went over some of the things the defense did that were amazing that they've done just in total yardage. They've only given up over 300 total yards in a game once. I believe that was against Toledo, and their quarterback was amazing. He had 3 or 4 amazing explosive plays that really propelled and allowed that total to go up. Outside of that, Toledo didn't really do much. But this game alone, Ohio State gave up the defense 202 total yards, 195 passing yards. That's correct. That leaves over 7 yards that the defense gave up in the entire game. Now, you may say, Jay, don't they in college football add your sack yardage, your negative sack yardage to your total rushing total? That is correct. So that doesn't really matter because they still couldn't do anything. Like, they literally still could not do anything. If you go to the sack adjusted yardage, Michigan State had 38 rushing yards in the game. Still not sexy. Still not good. Still not something that you would want to say is a calling card. On third down, Michigan State was 3 for 11. They did not go forward on fourth down at all. In this game, they averaged 4.2 yards per carry. No, yards per play, excuse me. They averaged 0.4 yards per rush. If you take the sack adjusted yards out of it, Michigan State averaged 2.4 yards per rush. Not good at all. Not good. The defense is amazing. And I talk about the defense so much, and we're going to do more diving into the defense at Ohio State as the offense of Stroud and Harrison and Henderson and Egbuka, and how they played phenomenal over the weekend. We'll talk more about the offensive line at Ohio State and the defense specifically at a later show in the week. We'll also have some great shows coming up later because this is good, man. This defense is good. And a player in Mike Hall who did not start in this game, was on a limited pitch count, did not have all of the plays that you might think a Mike Hall caliber player was going to have, all the snaps that a Mike Hall caliber player was going to have. His fingerprints were all over this game. He had 3 tackles. All of those tackles were in the backfield. 2.5 sacks. Two of those tackles were solo. So 2 of his sacks were solo. A half of a sack, which is a whole tackle. So all of his things were back in the backfield, getting after the quarterback. In my call earlier in the year, there was some comments made from Ohio State players. I believe Jalen Tuamaloau, which is his legal name, Jalen, not JT, but Jalen Tuamaloau, ended up coming out and saying that he sometimes says that Mike Hall is baby Aaron Donald. And somebody on the YouTube was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. They should not compare him to him. Like, hey, man, look, they're kids. He's not saying he is Aaron Donald. He says he plays like Aaron Donald, has some similar characteristics as Aaron Donald, but he's not saying he is Aaron Donald because Mike Hall is not Aaron Donald. We all know this. One's on the Rams, one's on Ohio State. But there are things that when you watch Mike Hall play, the quickness off the line of scrimmage at the tackle, the size, which he's undersized as a defensive tackle, his quickness, his ability not only to get off the line, his quickness, but his ability to use different pass rush moves and moves in general to shed a blocker to get to where the ball is. That's Mike Hall on the football field. And he knew he needed to make some plays in this game. He wanted to make some plays in this game, despite how many snaps he had and how many plays he played. He wanted to do Mike Hall things. That's exactly what he did in this game. I believe it was the first drive of the game for Michigan State. Lathan Ransom is not the deep safety. Ronnie Hickman on this play is a deep safety. Lathan Ransom is up more inside of the box, more where your nickel corner would be. And you know what Lathan Ransom did? He quickly saw there is a pass going deep. How quickly? Well, he took 2 steps, and then that bad boy sprinted to the back of the middle of the end zone. He lined up more on the hash, but he went back and sprinted back to the middle of the end zone. Now, the defender on the receiver, that escapes me at this moment, but Lathan Ransom was there where the ball was prior to either the receiver or the defender getting there. Lathan Ransom, start running like he was running the 100-yard dash, and next thing you know, Lathan Ransom turnover, Ohio State ball. And you know what? Lathan Ransom is a player that's had to be very, very flexible in 2022. He is a player that has had to realize, hey, sometimes Proctor will get on the field. Sometimes I will get on the field. Whatever Knowles and Eliano believe is proper for us right now, that's exactly what is going to happen. Tim Walton is the other coach I was thinking of at the time. Whatever the DB's coaches think is proper for us, that's what's going to happen. So you've seen Proctor start. You've seen Ransom start. You saw Ransom come in the Notre Dame game after Josh Proctor missed a tackle. Here comes Lathan Ransom. Comes on in, plays phenomenal against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Hey, he has been doing some things that are special, and that play was another thing that was an impact play in this game. Now, there were some plays, and I know I discussed some of them over the weekend, but Cam Brown got beat a couple times. J.K. Johnson got scored on. Jair Brown and Josh Proctor didn't. They were just not proper on a play. Jair Brown got burned. Hey, sometimes not all the impact plays are positive. There are some that are negative. But at the end of the day, this defense continues. If they allow a big play that does not define the performance in that game, and they are doing special things, phenomenal things on the football field. Buckeyes win, a 29-point blowout win. We have touched on numerous players so far. The next few minutes are about number 32 because he showed me some things that I liked over the weekend. Guys, TreyVeyon Henderson is special. He did some good things. We'll tell you what he did next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. BetOnline.net is your number one source for football betting info this season. Find all of the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game you can find. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sport wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores in every sport out there. The fastest and the easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. I have been critical on purpose for some of the things that TreyVeyon Henderson does or has done on the football field. There have been people that have said that his vision is in question. Is he durable? That has been something that I have said myself. Is he a patience runner? That's something else that I have said myself. Is he the best running back for Ohio State's offense in 2022? These are all the things that people have said about Henderson in year 2 at Ohio State. And what we witnessed over the weekend was TreyVeyon Henderson, one, we know he has watched the film. We saw number 2 that he has worked on his craft. Number 3, we saw the things that he has worked on, the things he saw. We saw those go into action on the football field. And, buddy, it was fun to watch. The final stats for TreyVeyon Henderson do not truly tell the entire picture from what we witnessed over the weekend. 19 carries, 118 rushing yards, 1 trip to the end zone, a long run of 26 yards. He averaged 6.2 yards per pop. So those are some things that are amazing. And I could sit here and say, if you hear those, if you see those, you say, oh, great, he had a phenomenal day. But I truly don't think those numbers really tell you how TreyVeyon Henderson has grown over the past few weeks. He missed last week's game. Mayan Williams went off, 189 on the ground, 5 tutties, tied an Ohio State single-game rushing touchdown record that was set by 2 different Ohio State running backs own, one of them being Keith Byers in 1984 against the Fighting Illini of Illinois. So that's one thing that happened last week. Henderson doesn't play, Williams goes off. This week, Mayan Williams does not play. TreyVeyon Henderson is the featured back. We quickly realized that the coaches were not going to bring in another Dallin Hayden, just like they didn't do last week, and say, hey, we want to run a 2-back set even though you're our 3rd running back right now. No. The coaches said, let him in, let him do what he has to do, let him get loose. That's exactly what Henderson did over the weekend. It was quickly and easy to see how patient he was as a runner and how he has learned, hey, you got to let some blocks develop. You can't always bounce things outside. Some things have to stay inside, and that's the perfect path and trajectory for you on that run. We are seeing these things in real time with TreyVeyon Henderson. And what else have we learned about this young man? He is good, boy. Hey, that boy good. I don't know anything else to say, but that boy is good. Henderson, there was a play, I believe, I'm looking at my notes here. I believe it was 2nd and goal, I formation. The Buckeyes brought in Josh Fryer as another tight end, really another offensive lineman, but he's wearing number 41 so he can line up and be an eligible receiver in the tight end spot. He was on the right side of the line. I believe the tight end on the right side as well. There was a tight end on the left side. There was a tight end offset off the line of scrimmage, 1 yard back, more in your H-back, Mitch Rossi, where Mitch Rossi lines up. On the right side as well. So 2 guys, 2 tight ends to the right, 1 tight end to the left. You had Rossi back in the I formation, Henderson behind him. And on this particular play, the ball is going right. Stroud drops back, hands the ball off, going to the right side of the O-line to Henderson. Rossi comes up and blocks and does a phenomenal job of blocking the oncoming defender on the outside of the line. The O-line, Fryer, Johnson, Jones, Matt Jones, DeJuan Jones, not Johnson, Fryer, Jones, and Jones. Sorry, got the last names mixed up. They do a phenomenal job of blocking that right side of the line. And then Henderson has a decision to make, quickly but patiently. Has to happen quickly, but be patient at the same time. Does he go inside of Rossi where the traffic is? He could probably skedaddle and squeeze his way to the end zone, be a little of a tougher track to do that. Or what is a cleaner path to go to the outside? He sees a block. He patiently realizes, go outside. He goes outside, touchdown. Not only is there grass on the outside, literal grass, but there's also no other defender that's out there coming over. If he goes inside, that's probably not going to the end zone. That's probably going to be a short gain, but not going to pay dirt. But he realizes, I like going to pay dirt. I like putting 6 on the board. How about I bounce this thing and go on outside and go on about my merry way? That's exactly what he did. The patience of Henderson, AZ vision of Henderson, and that was on full display on Saturday afternoon against the Michigan State Spartans. We're out of here on this Monday. Halfway point of the season. This is the bye week. Last year we did it. We're going to do it again this year. We're going to do our Ohio State position grades later in the week. Grades for the O-line, grades for the offensive positions, grades for the defensive positions. We're going to have a fun time grading the players and their play later this week right here on Locked on Buckeyes. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can also send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. In the meantime, make sure to go ahead and check out the Locked On Big Ten podcast. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen of the day. Make your second listen to Locked On Big Ten podcast because the host, Nate Dickinson, takes you around the Big Ten Conference in 30 minutes with a local experts every single day. Locked On Big Ten and Locked On Buckeyes are available wherever you're listening or watching this podcast. You can check out Locked On Big Ten at that area as well. Hey, and it's free. Everything at the Locked On Podcast Network is free every single day. That's enough talking for the day. Your boy is out of here, rocking the Ohio State shirt of the Ohio State win. Hey, I am happy. I hope you are too. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy this time of year. Enjoy your people. Enjoy your family and your friends, because they make things in life so much better. Out of here on this Monday. And you know what? Go Bucks.